The following program is intended for mature audiences.
PBS, America's #1 independent television network, presents the following sports exclusive.
You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And check out every episode of the show at basicallysports.tumblr.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg, Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Go ahead, Mike. Make your announcement.
So, yeah, no, I've decided I'm decided that following when Phillip Rivers eventually steps away from the Chargers and
which may be after this season, as he kind of intimated on Sunday.
Which may be after a few games. I'm going to throw my NFL. I'm going to say goodbye to the team I've been a fan of since I was a kid, because at this point, with Phillip Rivers leaving, there's like nothing left for me there that I've got much of an attachment to, and I will be throwing my NFL fandom behind my new hometown team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that'll be happening.
That's quite a decision to make, Mike.
That's not what you know. What nobody can accuse him of being a front runner. That much we can say for sure.
I guess. As I said on Sunday, though, it's retro gear only, correct?
Retro gear only, yes. None of this current abomination.
And when we're talking retro gear, is that just Bucko Bruce, or are you also
no, it's
Super Bowl era?
Super Bowl era stuff is going to be good too. Just not the current crap, which has gotten to the point where like now every newspaper in Tampa is publishing their own how we would fix it like articles. The Tampa Bay Times did it, and then now like everyone is like, yeah, you know what, they do suck. Let's like, how would we fix it? Like, so hopefully someone listens, although they probably won't. But
you know what they could do? They could go back to one of those prototypes that they had with the Super Bowl era set. It'd be a new uniform, but it's already done. Okay, we're going to do the black version now. That would look cool.
I mean, literally anything is better than what they have now.
Yeah,
like,
anything.
Literally anything. So, but yeah, over the past, 3 years that I've lived in Tampa, watching a lot of Bucs games, I've kind of grown a bit attached to them. And, with that being said, and with Phillip Rivers kind of on his way out in the last vestiges of the Chargers team that I was attached to, floating away. I mean, hell, they're not even in the city they should be in anymore. So, yeah, that's going to happen.
Well, have fun with that.
I'll try.
I think the only thing more ridiculous would have been if you said you're going to become a Browns fan. I would have been like, well, all right. But
well, at least I'm living in Tampa, so, there is that, I feel. But, like, the good news, Zach, is that I can join you now on the New Orleans Saints hate train.
Well, Mike, you're always going to be second fiddle in that division when it comes to the little rivalry that could.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, there's no way that anything could ever eclipse the storied rivalry that is Saints Falcons. I mean, Packers Bears stand aside.
Steelers Browns, Cowboys Redskins, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like y'all you're not Falcons Saints. So yeah, no, that's that. Sorry about this. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. No, I just quickly had to step away. Someone had called me, so I just had to quickly. Yeah.
What's that ringtone? I'm just curious.
It's the Transformers theme.
Okay, cool.
That's what I thought.
Yes.
Transformers.
Yeah, I've had it since I was in university, and it's just like, you know what? I'm keeping it. It's.
I make my own all the time. Like right now, my phone, when it rings, it's from the Charlie Brown Christmas, the piano music. So, and usually like, depending on the season, it'll be like This Week in Baseball or an NFL film song or whatever. Mm-hmm. I've made a ton of them. I've got Star Trek, Star Wars, you name it. I change that stuff up all the time. But yeah, so go Bucs. I mean, you've got one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the league.
I wouldn't say
he's exciting. He's not good, but he's exciting. You never know what he's going to do. You know what, though? I mean, who did they beat yesterday? Oh, Detroit. Okay, well, that doesn't really count.
Yeah, no, never mind. Yeah, they almost blew that game, too, actually. They're up like 24-3, and they let Detroit get within 7 before they pulled away again. But I guess we'll save that for the NFL rewinds, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I was going to suggest if you want to switch teams, do what I did and buy Packers stock. That way you've got a legitimate reason to be a fan, but...
Mike, there's other options. Like we said, you don't have to be a fan of the hometown team anymore. The NFL is
it's not like that anymore.
It's a national thing.
I got options, right?
You know,
you could join Toronto's NFL team, the Bills Mafia, and jump off a table or something.
The Toronto, you mean the city Toronto, the city that gave like less than a crap about the Bills when they came up for a few games.
the city that was going to open their arms to the John Bon Jovi purchased Bills.
God,
wasn't that was
going to happen?
Bon Jovi was going to buy the Bills and move to Toronto.
Bon Jovi, Christ.
It was just so funny because it's like, no, like, look, I love where I'm from. I love Toronto. I love Ontario. I love Canada. We like NFL football. We watch it. We, have our smattering of teams that we root for. But like when it comes to like a game day experience, we do not understand NFL football. Like we just don't like. You saw it when the Bills came up, right? It's like Bills fans who drove to Toronto for the game, would tailgate, and Canadian fans were utterly confused by the concept. Like,
can you imagine a Canadian fan jumping off a table and?
It's like, they sell food inside, right, eh?
Yeah, yeah, right. You can go to a restaurant, you don't have to cook here in the parking lot. We have restaurants in Canada, too.
I do have to step away for just a second, but I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah.
But, yeah,
well, hey, you know what? It's his choice, so.
I mean... There's some quirks to the Bucks,
Well, like I said, nobody can accuse him of being a front runner, and I think that's important. Like if he come out and said I'd become a New England Patriots fan, I'd be like, yeah, wait a minute here. But if it were me, I'd go to the Steelers because they're always pretty good, no matter what.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to be a Steelers fan, though.
No, me either. I couldn't do it. I've met too many of them, and no.
I mean, they're pretty much the Yankee Red Sox fan of. Well, I guess. There's maybe 3 groups in the NFL that are like that. You got your Steelers fans, you got your Cowboys fans.
Probably the Patriots, I guess.
Do the Patriots fans travel all that well?
I don't know. I don't think they travel as well as the Red Sox group does. Oh well, probably not. No, because the Patriots, despite what people from Boston might want you to believe, were right. Basically like a minor league hockey team. Until they got good. And then all of a sudden everybody's like, I've been a Patriots fan my whole life. It's like, no, you haven't. I guess after that it'd probably be the Packers then, huh? Yeah, Packers are pretty bad. Chiefs fans I don't know if Chiefs fans travel, but. Chief fans go really well. 49er fans travel surprisingly well also. Yeah. Browns fans for reasons passing comprehension travel well. I don't know why, but they do. I don't know why anybody would bother. I don't know how a team with 7 wins, or what, they got 6 wins? They are at 6 and 8, right? Yeah. They've got 6. They've got 6. I'm talking about the Browns for a second, Mike, and just for a second, I just want to point this out. You've got the Bengals, who are god awful, the Dolphins, who aren't great, Washington's terrible, the Giants are terrible, the Jets aren't great. Yet somehow the Browns, with 6 wins, only 2 games under 500, are again the laughingstock of the league. And I think you've got to be really, really, really inept to pull that off, to have more wins than all the teams behind you and still be considered the laughingstock of the league. That just cracks me up. Well, you mentioned urinating tree before we started recording. Yeah, a national treasure, by the way. And I think he summed it up actually in the last week's NFL recap. Or only the Browns could turn a win last week into feeling like a loss. Yeah, it's a devastating loss. Yeah, exactly. It just amazes me because they are, again, the laughingstock of the league, and they're just they're a stuff team this year. They're not anything. They're not entirely terrible. They're not good, but they're not like 1-14 right now. They're 6 and 8. I mean, two more wins, which they're not going to get. They're going to go 7 and 9 if they're lucky. But, 2 more wins, and they're an 8 and 8 team, yet they're like the laughingstock of the league, which is just, it's like, to me, it's like, that's incredible. that is just how screwed up this franchise is. They can have a halfway decent season and still be a joke.
Well, I think that's a product of the hype as well, you know.
Well, we all know who on this show did not buy into the hype. I was exactly right about this team.
You were. Yep. Mike and I were wrong. It was, you know.
Well,
we bought it.
You guys aren't close enough to see.
We all misread the NFC North. We said the Ravens were going to be terrible.
I think I said they were going to be pretty good. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I'll admit that. But I thought they'd be a playoff contender. Who did we have winning that division? Pittsburgh?
Oh, no. Zach and I picked the Browns.
I think I went with the Steelers. Or maybe the Ravens. I don't know. You know what would be fun? I'll go back and listen to that show and see like what we did compared to how the things turned out after the season's over. That might be fun. But yeah, anyway, so we can move on to the actual week in the NFL if you want.
Let's do it.
It was crazy. All of a sudden, my Packers are in the running for the number 1 seed. Now, it's going to take a lot for it to happen, but last week I would have said there's no chance in the world that's going to happen. They're at least in it set up for a bye right now. But, Zach, we got to start. What the hell happened to your Rams yesterday?
They dropped it. They completely fumbled the thing. This was not the game that was supposed to be a problem.
No.
Like, Dallas was all in all the wrong places leading into the game. You know, with the stuff with Jason Garrett, you know, is Jerry actually going to fire him? Is this the end? You know, they were still leading the division, but still like 6-7, and it's just so frustrating. And even Dallas started off the game in typical Dallas fashion, or at least dysfunctional fashion, where it seemed like they screwed up the coin toss, but the NFL allowed them to change it at halftime.
The NFL
garbage.
The NFL basically played favorites of that.
They certainly did, because the rule specifically states that the first thing you say is your call. So technically, Dallas was supposed to kick off both halves, which would have been just hilarious to me. But
well, that's the thing. They didn't change their mind. What happened was the NFL did some investigating, and they had audio of the whole exchange. And according to the NFL's little mini investigation,
right,
they heard Dak say deferred at some point in the conversation.
It doesn't matter. The first thing he said was kick, and that's what you have to go with. That's what the rule states.
And he said kick. They supposedly asked him again, and he said kick. But then at halftime, it comes out that the NFL found some video or recording that said, he actually said deferred at some point, so we're not going to let the Cowboys make this really dumb mistake. It didn't matter. It didn't matter because the Rams were playing like garbage.
Right, but it's still...
But there is some difference to... At the end of the first half, the Rams weren't playing like a team that wasn't getting the ball back to start the second half. They were playing like a team that was going to get the ball back, and they were just kind of cruising along. But anyway.
I'm looking at the NFL's NFL.com's front page right now. There are 7 teams on here, okay? 2 of those teams I could see getting the benefit of that call, the Packers and the Steelers, or the Patriots maybe. But do you think the Buccaneers, if Jameis Winston calls kick, they're going to switch it back at halftime? No. The Vikings, no. The Saints, no. The Rams, no. But the Dallas Cowboys, well, we knew what he meant. Well, no. The rule is clear in this. It says whatever they say first, that's what you go with. And there's no mulligans. It's like, are you sure? Which I thought was bullshit in itself. Are you sure that's what you want to do? Like, well, why wouldn't I? But I mean, we knew his intent was that they wanted to defer, but that's not how the rule works.
This is literally something I learned in my sophomore year of high school, because when we did the coin flip, we didn't know that there was a difference. We literally didn't know any better. And then the coach was like, "No, you're supposed to defer. Like, defer means that you're kicking usually."
Well, it means you're deferring your choice to whether you want the ball or want to kick off to the second half. Is what it means.
And usually when that happens, the other team says we'll receive.
Right.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, or they're going to end up kicking off twice. Because they go, well, kicked, and guess what? You're going to do it again in the second half. Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, we had this whole thing on the board yesterday talking about questionable officiating in the NFL. And that happened, and it was like, none of this is good. None of it looks good. But
But anyway, it didn't matter.
No.
Because the defense could not get Dallas off the field, which for the defense that has been the backbone of this team when it has been good all year, and really in some of the losses has been good. They've really only been bad, I guess, 3 times now. But like Dallas had terrible field position for most of the first half, and they just could not get them off the field on third down. On the other side, Jared Goff laid an egg, and as much as I want to defend him week after week, he's making it really damn hard every single week to try and defend some of the crap he does.
What do you say, Zach? Let's do a trade. Jameis Winston for Jared Goff.
Dude, you're getting 38 points a game. It's gonna, you're probably giving up 14 on defense, or But
you get 38 points a game, but you're also going to give up 4 interceptions.
Yeah, so it's like a net of like 24 points a game. You're guaranteed when it's all said and done.
I actually don't know. Like, I think I would stay with Goff. Because just Jameis presents all these other problems, but like, man,
look, Jared Goff will be perfectly fine as soon as the technology exists for Sean McVay to just directly connect an Xbox controller to his head.
But it is baffling though, because there are games where it's like, oh, Jared's figuring himself out. He's got it. I mean, we said it last week.
Yeah.
Oh, he's stepping up in the pocket. He's throwing accurate balls, and then he comes out this week and just is underthrowing guys, overthrowing guys.
That's what was so weird about this week, because like it's like night and day and night. I watched that Rams game last week, and I said to you guys in the text chat that we have, like, where has this Rams offense been all year? Like, it was clicking. They easily dismantled a pretty good team in the Seahawks.
Yep.
And then, this week they go up against the Cowboys, who are not a good team at all.
Are we okay? I know that Goff's been up and down, but are we going to give any consideration to the fact that he hurt his hand when he smacked it on the top of Whitworth's helmet yesterday?
No.
No? Okay. All right. I'm just asking.
Because I think
if it was hurt that bad, they should have taken him out of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, if he couldn't use it.
He just was terrible. And beyond that, the offensive line wasn't great.
Something to keep in mind too. This is a guy that thinks the sun rises in the west. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think he disproved that at some point in the last 2 years. But yeah, not great. Especially like it's not like they weren't getting any help elsewhere, but they're like, as much as I want to say, damn it, Mike and your Chargers for not putting up a better fight against Minnesota. It's not. I don't think it was.
It wouldn't have helped anyway.
I don't think the Rams.
Both teams just absolutely crapped the bed. I will say this though, that even if the Rams had won, and then Minnesota, still curbs on the Chargers, I would have said, well, that's what you get for putting your faith in the Chargers. So.
Well, I wanted the Chargers to win too, because I don't want next week's game against the Vikings to mean anything. I wanted the Packers to have a 2-game lead. Now it's basically.
Well, look, man. All right, look. It's Phillip Rivers. He wants to go home and lie down, and this team's playing out the string. Don't expect the Chargers to do anything.
I know, right? It was my mistake. My mistake. What can I say? But I was just hoping that a little help would have been nice. We talked about the home field thing earlier. I thought Minnesota on the road outdoors are going to be terrible. They were fine, which I don't know how much of that has to do with they were playing the Chargers, or if they've just finally gotten past all that and they're actually a very good team. I don't know. I just know that next week the Packers are going to move from the number 2 seed down to number 5 or whatever they would drop to, because they can't beat Minnesota in Minnesota. So I've already given up on it. But yeah, that was a tough one for the Rams, Zach. Yeah. That pretty much killed your chances, I think.
Yeah, no, they would have to win out. They'd have to win the next 2 games and hope Minnesota loses them both, and that's not going to happen.
Not likely. I mean, it's possible. Sure. Every year too, we think that we get to like this point in the season and we think, okay, the playoff picture's pretty well set. And as we saw yesterday with the 49ers losing to the Falcons of all teams at home, you go, well, wait a minute, anything can still happen here. So it's not over completely.
Can I just
in theory,
can we talk about that game? Because
sure.
that game was hilarious at the end.
Yeah, it was.
First, the NFL. It seems like the NFL screws the Falcons with their "that wasn't a catch" bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
The guy caught it.
Yeah.
I don't like. I saw the play, in slow motion. I saw it in real time. The dude caught the football. That should have been a touchdown. Then they go to Julio Jones. They say he's not in, but thankfully they review it. He's in. And then the ending, where the 49ers try to do the rugby thing to keep the play alive and get like a last-second touchdown to win. And it goes off some 49ers player into the end zone, and a Falcons guy jumps on it, so it's another touchdown.
You know what the beauty of that was? Is the over-under for that game was 51, and that put it, or 50, I think, and that put it over. So the people,
so whoever had money on the over is
they were happy, but the under, I think a lot of people bet the under on that game. So it was a pretty bad beat all around for everybody involved, most especially the 49ers. That just surprised me. Is that just one of those trap games or what? I don't get it, because how do they go out and score 48 on the Saints and then do this to with the Falcons at home? Come on, I don't get it.
It's a weird one, yeah, because they've got the Seahawks next week, right?
I'm not. If it's the next week or the last week of the season, I'm not sure.
I think it's next week, because I remember us looking at the last week's schedule and that wasn't that. Oh no, they're playing the Rams this week. Yeah, so they're at the Seahawks. I don't know. That is a really weird one, all things considered.
Yeah. So it was funny because they lost the number 1 seed, then they got it back, only to lose it again. It's like, I don't know what to make of these guys.
I just want to say again, because now, thankfully, this didn't affect the game because the Falcons scored on the next play. But taking back that what seemed to be a last-second touchdown, that was bullshit. It was a bullshit call that it was an incomplete, and whatever ex-NFL official clown show they rolled out onto Fox to try to argue that it wasn't a catch. Screw that guy. Screw the NFL's rule book. It's a goddamn catch. Figure out how to it's catching a football. Kids in like grade 5 know what a goddamn catch is when they go outside and play. Like, this isn't difficult.
I agree. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The way to solve this problem is all 7 officials look at the replay, and if you get 4 of them saying it's a catch, then it's a catch. Simple as that. Majority rules. Because it's like that. What was it? Justice Potter, I think, former Supreme Court Justice Potter said, "I can't define pornography, but I know it when I see it." And that's all a catch is. It's as simple as that. I can't tell you what it is, but I damn sure know one when I see one. That's all you got to do. Simple as that. If it's a question, you review it, and everybody goes, "Yep, that looks like a catch to me." Well, there you go, it's a catch. If all 7 go, "Nope, that's a drop," well, then it's a drop. I mean, I don't know how much simpler can you make it than that? You know? And it's just, I don't get it. It's like all these rules, football move and blah, 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 and this and that. It's like, oh my God. Nobody even knows what the fuck that means. So yeah, I'm with you, Mike. I thought it was a catch. I thought he held it like up against his leg or something, and like the ball never touched the ground. But whatever.
I caught the ball.
Yeah, I can safely say I didn't see any of it because the Rams were playing so bad. Then I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna go watch Star Wars now.
Well, that's what I did when you guys were texting me. I'm like, well, I watched the Packers beat the Bears, and then I left. I'm like, I'm not even gonna waste my time on the Browns because A, I knew they were gonna lose, and B, why?
The Cardinals.
Yeah, well, the Cardinals are better than they are. That's why they lost. It's simple as that.
They have a worse record.
I don't care. Like I said earlier, the Browns have somehow managed to take 6 wins and become the worst team in the league. I don't know how you do that, but they did it.
Yeah,
you should see the people around here too, man. Everybody's like, fire Freddie Kitchens and blah blah blah. And it's like, I'm just like, oh my God, it's the same thing every year. I got people saying it was the worst season they've ever experienced. I'm like, oh come on. It's not even close to the worst.
16 season, the
right.
16 season was worse.
Yeah, and do you not remember winning 1 game in 2 years?
Right. It's like, this is terrible, right? Look, when's the last time a 7-8-1 team went to the Super Bowl the following year? I don't know if that's ever even happened. Usually you see at least a little more than what the Browns showed last year, but everybody's like, oh my God, this team should have been so much better. I'm like, no, not really. It's just not. I don't know, but I don't want to get bogged down talking about those idiots because it'll take 2 hours and who needs it? Everybody knows where I stand on the Browns. They're funny. I wish they were more fun to watch, but they're always good for a laugh. That's the way I feel about it. So,
let's see. Is there any other big ones?
Are there any more team officials that Baker Mayfield's throwing under the buses?
I think he's about out of people to throw under the bus.
So the Texans hold on to the top in the division by beating the Titans.
That would surprise me a little bit too. I thought,
the Texans who get their ass kicked by like the Broncos starting, who I think is a literal child at quarterback last year.
I think he was playing in high school last year.
And now they've got like, I don't know.
Yeah, I really thought Tennessee would win this game. I really did. And
apparently the Texans have beaten the Titans in 8 of the 11 games under Bill O'Brien.
Oh, I did not know that.
That
does not bode well for my Tennessee Titans, does it?
No, and I think they play each other again in 2 weeks.
Yeah, they play in week 17, yeah.
So, I mean, there's still plenty of time for that to go sideways.
That's what I mean. Somebody that you're not expecting right now is going to back their way into the playoffs. It happens every year. Because, somebody's going to stumble and screw up, and then they're going to have that. All you got to do is win this game and you're in, and they'll blow that too. And the next thing you know, you're like, wow, how did the Bears get in the playoffs? But there they are.
I think the only way that happens, I mean, we talked about the NFC, like, it has to be a complete catastrophe for the Vikings to lose.
Yeah, the AFC, it's got a little bit better chance of happening, but not much.
Right. The AFC, if Indy beats New Orleans tonight, then they'll be 7-7. And then Tennessee's 8-6, Pittsburgh's 8-6, and then the Texans are 9-5. So Buffalo's already in; they clinch at 10-4.
Nobody circles the wagons.
I can't believe that, right?
Good for the Bills. What is this? The most wins that they've had in this century?
Yeah, since 1999 was their last 10-win season. I think that was the year of the Music City Miracle, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Well, they play the Patriots next week for the division lead.
No, I'm not going to do it. Anything's possible. I'll just say that.
I mean, the Patriots were struggling against the Bengals for a little while.
Oh, that's because it's something we didn't talk about because they couldn't use those stolen signals that they taped for 8 minutes.
Did you see the tape that Fox broadcast?
Yes.
I know that the Patriots are claiming that it's just it was for their video production team.
Bullshit.
Story on a scout, and that they were just getting some field looks.
Bullshit. That wasn't a field look. That was a horrible shot. Come on.
You're literally. I guess the idea was that the advanced scout. Part of the thing the advanced scout does is they watch the substitution groups and they try to watch the signs. The advanced scouts can't record any of that, but they can look and take notes the best they can. And so I guess the idea is maybe that the team or this video production crew was like, hey, what are you watching right now? And he's like, oh, what, I'm up here, I'm watching the signs. And so they took it upon themselves to film some of that to then like maybe use as B-roll later. Mm-hmm. But
look, at the end of the day, when you're the New England Patriots,
exactly,
and you're caught with, and you have you lose all benefit of the doubt. Yep. Look, I don't know enough about what happened. For all I know, it was a completely innocent mistake. But when you have the track record that they do, you lose that benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry, you just do.
Where there's smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke, there might end up being a fire somewhere.
Guys.
Also, and I know I'm not the first person to say this, but I don't give a shit. I think it's funny. Why do you need to cheat to beat the Cincinnati Bengals?
Well, the explanation by the football experts when they were doing it was because it's a new coach, you don't necessarily know how he does his stuff or what their tendencies are. And it's like, well,
okay, but
it's week 14. Could you not use any of the game tape from the first?
Well, not only that, but whatever stuff they're doing isn't working very well. Let me just look at their record.
Bad team.
Come on,
they don't need any information. Just
you're probably better off not having any information. Here's what I got to say about the videotaping. Okay, I have taped literally thousands of hours of sports video. All right. Never in my life did I ever shoot 8 minutes of a single shot of anything for B-roll, because that would be excessive. That to borrow a military analogy, that's like using a missile to blow a fly off a horse's ass. It's overkill. You just don't need that much.
Anybody that's ever tried to edit a video knows that you don't want 8 minutes to sit through.
No.
If you didn't get what you wanted in the first 5 minutes,
well, not only that, but
you're probably not going to get anything else in the next 3.
That shot was so shitty that there's no way any self-respecting producer would have ever allowed that thing to see the light of day. There's just no way.
And then the best part is like you hear the guys in the background. Oh, we can delete it right now. This isn't going to be a problem. We can delete it. It's like, yeah, I bet you can. I bet you also already have it backed up.
He couldn't have deleted
SD cards in that camera.
Oh, yeah, right. I was thinking how would he delete it, but he could just go in and find the file and delete it off the card. But no, that, like Mike said, they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt. And the truth of the matter is that anybody that knows anything about video production knows that what they were pulling there was complete bullshit. It wasn't a good enough shot to be B-roll. Okay, it wasn't focused on anything. It was a horrible looking shot. So, like I said, no self-respecting producer is ever going to use it. Secondly, it was 8 minutes of that, which you just don't need 8 minutes of that. If you want to show them running off the field or coming back on in substitution packages, you can do that in 30 seconds. You don't need 8 minutes of that shit. Mm-hmm. So, no, I'm sorry. I don't buy it for a second. They got busted again. It's plain and simple.
Yeah. And people trying to say, well, what if Belichick didn't directly order it? It doesn't matter if he did or not.
No.
It's still an organizational problem that they continue to have over and over again.
Yeah.
Whether it's something silly like Deflategate, like they've been caught videotaping before. This is the third time they've done this.
Well,
right? Isn't this the third time? Because they did it with the Rams. Didn't they do it with the Jets a different time?
Jets, well, they got popped. Two coaches where they weren't supposed to be against Buffalo earlier this year.
They did it last year. They did it against the Rams like literal decades ago when they played them in the Super Bowl, the 2001 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And then they played, and then it was again against the Jets. And so this is the third time that they've done it.
This has literally been something that's following them around for this entire dynasty that they put together. Yes, they are the example of success. Yes, they are the best coach quarterback combo of all time. Yes, they execute and all those things. They do everything else efficient and extremely well. However, there is always going to be this part of their dynasty that follows them around.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Mike, aren't you proud of me that when he said the best quarterback and coach combination of all time, I didn't say anything?
Look. I really like Joe Montana, but I'm just saying at a certain point after the 5th ring, it became very hard. After the 6th ring, I think you should have just given up the ghost. But.
Well, I'm going to stick to my guns and say that Montana played against tougher defenses, but different eras. I think that.
Most prolific. How about that?
Yeah, most prolific I'll go with. I think, Belichick's the greatest coach of all time. And Brady's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It's from the heart. I'm a Joe Montana guy, so I can't help it. But no, you're right, Zach. It's always this thing that hangs over them. And maybe it's not even enough to where you can go, okay. I mean, I saw people on the boards like, they should take away their Super Bowls. I don't know about that. I don't know that you can be. You can't cheat your way to 6 Super Bowl wins. You just can't do it.
Let me guess. Was that a lights out gem?
No. That was actually it was somebody that's a friend of the show. I won't bring up the name because I don't want to embarrass him. But yeah.
All right. Well, I'll just say I don't think that's a good argument because look, when you start doing that, and I know that, NCAA has set that precedent where you can, completely invalidate entire seasons. The NCAA is also stupid.
Yes, very stupid.
So let's not use that as a...
I always find that dumb because we all saw it happen.
Right.
Yeah, but so let's all just, not use that as a precedent and just be like, look, when you start saying we should retroactively remove Super Bowls, one, what you said, Greg, it's kind of hard to cheat your way to 6 championships. But secondly... once you start saying we're going to go back and we're going to start removing we're going to take away the Patriots' 6 Super Bowls, that sets a precedent.
Yep.
Well, now let's scour all of NFL history.
Yep.
And all of a sudden now you're arguing, like, you can pretty much make an argument. It's like, oh, well, what about this? Let's take this away or that away. Like, and it's look, I know the slippery slope argument is a fallacy because it does. Ultimately, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it, and it doesn't really matter what else goes along with it. But at the same time, I know sports fans, and if you start going, the New England Patriots Super Bowls, the 6 Super Bowls don't count. We're going to officially strike them from the record book. Not only is it dishonest because, like Zach said, we all watched it happen. It happened. And two, again, you just know. You goddamn know. Like, you're going to have some Bears fan who's going to be pouring over everything they can to try to disqualify a few Packers Super Bowls.
Sure.
Because why not? Like, again, slippery slope. I'm not using that as an argument. I'm just saying I know how sports fans work.
No, and if there's one place where a fallacy would apply, it's sports fans. Where a fallacy becomes reality.
Yeah. So, no, the Patriots have problems. They probably cheated again, but should they remove the Super Bowls? No.
No, but and some people, I don't remember. There were some pretty extreme reactions to it, and it was just like, look, it is what it is. I mean, they got caught. The NFL will. I don't know what the NFL will do. They could go from far as like executing someone all the way down to nothing, and anything in between wouldn't surprise me. But they'll do whatever they're going to do. The Patriots aren't going to get away with it. But what are you supposed to do? I mean, you took away draft picks. That didn't hurt them at all. You fine them. Well, they've got more money than God knows what. So how do you punish them for this? And it's just one of those things.
I mean, the worst consequence of this is just it's another thing to add to the list for Patriots fans that despite being the most successful dynasty in sports history almost, that they're still going to be like, oh, everyone's still out to get us. Poor us.
You fucking know that when the Patriots win the Super Bowl again,
everybody's out to get us, and we survived, and we got through it.
It's like they tried to take us down, and we we're the underdogs. It's like,
no,
you've won 6 championships over the span of like 20 years, and you have probably the best coach and best quarterback of all time. Well, shut the hell up.
Right.
It's go dunk yourself in the Boston Harbor.
It's kind of like last year. It's kind of like last year, Zach, when you brought up like how for the Chiefs Patriots AFC Championship game, they're trying to make it like Patrick Mahomes had the world handed to him.
Silver spoon.
He's the son of a pro athlete. Tom Brady's the underdog. It's like maybe 2001 Tom Brady was the underdog. 2018 Tom Brady is not.
Well, here's the thing too. I
mean, they're already going to get that in the playoffs. You know that if it's Patriots Ravens, right? They'll be like, the hot shot, Lamar Jackson versus the gritty blue collar underdog of Tom Brady.
The blue collar Tom Brady married to his supermodel wife with his millions of dollars.
Yeah, hawking illegal drugs on the internet. Sure.
Went to a private school in San Francisco and
the University of Michigan, which is, I mean, granted, and back then it was still pretty good. But let's not act like that Tom Brady went to something like to the University of Tiffin and fought and clawed his way to the fucking NFL. Okay, he was what, a 6th round draft pick, but he was still picked from Michigan. No, the Tom Brady as underdog thing doesn't fly. Montana was a 3rd round pick, so fuck off, Tom. It just depends on what you do with your chance when you get it.
Anyway,
but no, I was just going to say that speaking of knowing sports fans. Every time that a Patriots fan brings up the 6 Super Bowl wins, any other sports fan is going to go, yeah, but you cheated. And that's what it's always going to be. Whether they did or not, they've got to put up with that from here on in.
Well, but they'll always come back with you and say, no, we didn't get caught.
Well, that's the thing, too. I mean, they've been caught 3 times. They said they must not be very good at it. And I think it was on Wisconsin on the board said, well, they're great at it.
Maybe this is they said like maybe these like the 3 times they've been caught are like the 1% of times.
Right.
like there's like for all we know, they're actually really, really good, but it's just like he can never be 100% successful.
Right, that's what I mean. They're like really great at it. They cheat all the time. They've only been caught 3 times, and well, that's a fair point. But I don't know. I don't know how much good that footage would have done anybody, but I know that all the reasons they gave for it were all bullshit. That much I know because I've shot enough video to know what was going on, and that was like, I'm going to point the camera here and hope nobody notices. And that's what he did. And the Bengals are right on top of it. Well, as top of it as the Bengals ever get on anything, but they eventually figured, probably like 7 minutes and 50 seconds, they went, hey, wait a minute.
You know what happened? The Bengals probably weren't on top of it. This is some hapless intern probably bumped into him, and that's how they figured out what was happening.
And weren't they recording from the press box?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like they were like secretly doing it. Like the Jets one, weren't they doing it like secretly in the stands?
Yes.
Like they were hiding it, like they had like winter coats on or something. Like it was like
this
a legit.
They're literally wearing like Patriots team jackets in the press box with a camera pointed at the sideline, and someone's like, "What are you doing? Who are you with?"
Right. Well, something.
The video production crew for the online web series.
Right. If that's, I got to see this web series. If that guy was a cameraman for it, because it's got to be hilariously bad. But
is it? I believe it's that series is also called "Do Your Job."
Do Your Job. Yeah, the Browns have one. I think every team's doing it now. The Browns have one called "Building the Browns."
I want to see the Patriots web series. I hope it's nothing but like 20 minutes an episode of Tom Brady giving you like life goals and like
Tom Brady, life coach.
Again, this one was coming. This one was.
Saints just blocked the punt.
Yeah, it was God, what am I trying to say? It was a feature on an advanced scout, right?
Right. Yeah.
Does this feature ever see the light of day?
Oh, not now. No, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. The footage, like I said, the footage was just atrocious. What I saw of it, it's like, well, it's unusable. You could use it if you want. If you were just surveilling something, yeah, it works for that. From an artistic standpoint, it was absolute garbage. Simple. So, using Occam's razor, another thing that's not 100% accurate, but in this particular case, you got to look at it and go, well, which explanation makes the most sense? That they're going to use this horrible, shitty footage in a team-sanctioned documentary, or this guy was trying to sneak 8 minutes of footage while nobody was looking? And to me, I go, well, having shot video and know how it works and all that, I'm thinking he had the camera pointed hoping nobody would notice, which is something that, I'm not going to say I've ever done or not, but it does happen.
Greg?
Well, I've never worked officially for a team, so I never had to worry about it.
Okay. So.
But I have seen it happen with other people. Okay. So.
Okay. Say no more. Say no more.
Yeah, no, I've never done it. I can tell you that because I never had any interest. I really didn't give a shit who won or lost in the games I covered. I really didn't care. So, but my question, really quick, and then we can move on from this. If the Patriots really, they hiding people in the stands and stuff, is there really a camera guy out there for a team that's so loyal to his team that if, say, a covert operative from the Patriots contacted him and said, we'll give you $25,000 for the footage you shot today, that he wouldn't do it? I mean, I'm just wondering. Just to throw another wrench in the gears here, but that's a possibility too.
Okay, that's a possibility. But so here's the thing. And here's why, if it does exist, it's hilarious. Because if you're going to do that, you might as well just go full on CIA intelligence.
Right.
And just basically be like, all right, like we're playing like the Jaguars. I want every Jaguars cameraman. I want to know like who's vulnerable, like who has a mother in the hospital, or who has a secret. Like I want like if you're gonna do that, you might as well just go full on like complete personnel write-ups of like every opposing team's cameraman, so you know who to put the pressure on.
Well, I'm saying though, but here's my point. That's not that out of the realm of possibility. Do you think that Robert Kraft doesn't have enough money to pull off an operation like that, or I don't?
No. I fully believe that they are capable of doing it. If they actually do it, it'd
be the greatest thing ever. Oh, come on. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so I don't know. I'm not going to talk about the Patriots because I just, I'm afraid I'll say the wrong thing and I'll ruin it for everybody again.
and curse us to another one.
And they ended up being just fine in the game.
Yeah.
They were down 10-3. And I was like, wait, what? And then, then it didn't matter. Did you see the Bengals onside kick attempt at the end of this game?
No.
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. So the kicker.
Oh, wait, is this the one that just spun there for after 5 yards?
Yeah. So the kicker put the ball sideways on the ground, but he had it touching the tee, so I guess it counted. And then he went to go do his version of the onside kick, and it just spun ever so slowly until it hit exactly 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, or from the kickoff line. And then while it was spinning, it went up on its point and was just spinning 5 yards away from where it got kicked. And everyone's just standing there staring at it like, well, damn.
Oh, man. They've got that one guy, I think is it the Texans kicker that's really good? Or who was the kicker that did like 2 in a row and then got another one this week? And even though it was called back.
Who was
Falcons?
That was on Thanksgiving. Yeah, Falcons.
Yeah. Yeah, he did another one yesterday, but it got called back because, get this, they didn't have 5 guys on each side of the kicker because they only had 10 men on the field. So, hey, man.
If you recover an onside kick with less than the proper amount of players on the field, I don't think that's your fault.
No, but there's a rule that says you got to have 5 on each side. So when they screwed up and they put 10 men out there, they couldn't do the 5 on each side, so it was a penalty.
Well,
they'd have been better off to have too many guys and not enough.
But that's what I'm saying is like they made it harder on themselves to recover.
It doesn't matter. It broke the rule. So, you know how the NFL and their rules,
Just let them keep it.
I think so too. I think it's more impressive they did it with only like 9 guys basically.
Exactly.
I don't know. This league's so screwed up. Let's go through
the rest of these.
Yeah.
Thursday night, Ravens dispatch of the Jets, pretty easy. But the thing to take note of here is Lamar Jackson sets the single season record for quarterback rushing yards, breaking Mike Vick's old record.
Was he the first quarterback to go over 1,000 yards?
Mike Vick was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they're the only 2 guys have ever gone over 1,000 in a season.
You want to know who the next closest one was? Bobby Douglas, Chicago Bears, like way back in like 1971, 986 yards. Am I right?
About that name. I would have never pulled out that name from anyone.
I don't know why I remember it. I just do. I think it was on his football card or something. I don't remember, but I think that's right. I have to look him up, but yeah. Well, Lamar, I don't know how everybody's. I even said, I'm like, well, they'll figure out a way to stop him. I don't know how you stop him because he can pass too. He's a good pocket passer. So what do? Do you shut down the run, and he's just going to pick you apart?
That's the thing.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting to watch him in the playoffs, I think. And if I were going to, I will say this: if anybody's got a shot at beating the Patriots, it's probably those guys. How's that?
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
But you know what? And this is going to sound weird, but if they play, I almost want the Patriots to beat them. I know I do want the Patriots to beat them. I'm not even going to say I almost. I do. I want the Patriots to win.
Why?
By the way, you're right, Greg. Bobby Douglas, 1972.
Was it 986 yards?
968.
Oh, I missed. I got the numbers mixed up. Okay, but yeah.
Oh. Okay, so why do you want the Patriots to win?
I don't know. I just do. I think because everybody thinks that the Ravens are like this year's Patriots, like they can't be beaten. I'm like, well, I don't know. Give me the old guy at quarterback with the 6 rings, and let's see what we can do.
Is this like latent Browns Ravens rivalry?
Nah.
Is this jealousy like? God damn it! If I vote for Art Modell, like Lamar Jackson could be a Baltimore, like a Cleveland Brown.
No, we know if the Browns had stayed here, that none of this would have ever happened. But,
no, Lamar Jackson would be, it would be even worse. Lamar Jackson would be Tom Brady's like backup, and it would be like Patriots dynasty guaranteed for another 20 years.
Oh no, he would be Ben Roethlisberger's replacement in Pittsburgh.
Oh God,
that's what would have happened.
Oh God.
Anyway,
I mean, as it stands right now, that's probably the most likely thing to happen. Just because Baltimore, when they get to the playoffs, they're either going to play Houston, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, or Tennessee. And I don't think any of those teams are shutting down Lamar Jackson.
No. I mean, Kansas City, I think, didn't Kansas City beat them this year? Baltimore?
Yeah, but it was a close one. That was earlier in the year.
And then there was that weird one where the Browns beat them.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah,
and they dominated.
All I know is that now the Browns have got to now play like a fully realized Ravens.
Right, exactly. Good luck, fellas. Guess we'll be Christmas shopping again this Sunday afternoon.
No, it's just gonna be like Freddie Kitchens with like a dry erase board with like a little circle representing Lamar Jackson and a bunch of arrows pointing at it. Like, go, like, get him.
That would make perfect sense, Mike. Except I don't think Freddie Kitchens knows how to draw a circle, so I don't know how we're gonna make this work.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Anyway,
but as it stands, the Ravens wouldn't be able to play the Chiefs until the title game.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well,
and I think that's how it's probably going to stay too. So get ready for Patriots Chiefs 2.0 in the second round.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
in New England more than likely, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I know that
it's going to be impossible next week. So
well, is that game in Buffalo?
No.
No, forget it. Never. Not in a million years.
And that's actually what day is that? That's a Saturday game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Saturday, 1:30 NFL Network.
Now we get Saturday football for the next week or two, I think.
That's exciting. Anyway, rest of the scores. Seahawks beat the Panthers. They clinch a playoff berth. They're 11-3, along with the 49ers.
I'm a little surprised that Seattle is 11-3. I thought they'd be okay, but I think they'd be this good.
Well, we've talked about it.
It's the Russell Wilson show.
We've talked about it, how they've won a lot of close games.
Yeah.
This is another one. 6-point game.
Yeah.
And so the question's going to be going into the playoffs, is that sustainable? Like once you start playing like the really good teams, can you pull that out of your ass consistently?
Well, we're going to find out.
Well, I guess we will.
I know I forget who it was on our thread on the boards, on the Basically Sports Show thread on the board said, I don't understand Russell Wilson's next-gen stats. All I know is he's got a giant horseshoe up his ass, and that's what makes everything work. And I said, it sounds to me like he understands his next-gen stats perfectly, because it's all about the giant horseshoe up his ass, and that's all there is to it. I don't know.
Let me pull the standings again. I gotta imagine, because we talked about it like 2 weeks ago, that their point differential was the lowest for a 10-win team ever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're now at 11-3. They're 11-3 and they're plus 26. You know who else is a plus 26? The Rams. Actually, I mean, the Saints are only a plus 48 if we're really breaking down these numbers.
Yeah.
Packers are plus 47.
Well, the
Cowboys are 7-7 and they're plus 90.
I don't get the Packers at all. I just don't understand. First off, I don't understand how they've won 11 games, because I watched them yesterday and it's like they get out to a lead and then they just stop playing. And you can't, I don't know how they keep winning, because it's like they were up 21-3 on the Bears, and the next thing you know, the Bears were like one, if this dude just lateraled the ball, they're tying the game and probably taking it to overtime. But I don't get it. They play like 2 quarters of good football and they sit back and hang on for dear life. But okay, 11 wins later, here we are.
The Niners also 11-3 are plus 161. The Patriots are plus 191. And the Ravens are plus 215. So,
yeah, well, the Ravens they're like a video game team right now.
Yeah. It's very different, among all those top teams.
Yeah.
Mike, your new Buccaneers, they're 7-7.
They
not
are.
Not a bad year for the Buccaneers out of nowhere.
No, kind of out of nowhere. Jameis is a problem. But he's also,
is he though?
He threw the single season Tampa Bay touchdown record.
He's a problem, but then he also put up like gaudy stats. It's like, if we could just find a way for him to not throw.
Did you hear that, Greg? You already dropped a wee.
I know, dropped a wee. He just got to find a way to get him to, cut down on the interceptions. But of course, people have been saying that in Tampa for years now, and so. You
know what this means, Mike? I have to go out and find a song about the fucking Buccaneers now, because I can't use the Chargers anymore.
Just play the Pirates of the Caribbean theme.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
And And I mean, the Chargers, I would have thought it'd be hilarious if they did like the whole San Diego Superchargers. Like they just did like the very obvious voiceover for it was just like Los Angeles Superchargers. That would have been great, but I don't know. The whole thing is the whole Chargers thing is dumb. But Jameis Winston, I mean, I don't know. It's also hilarious because like
I've already found one. Hey, Tampa Bay from 1979. We're good. Never mind.
But no, it's you look at the league, right? And it's just like if the Bucs were the NFC East, they'd be right up there in playoff contention.
Yeah. We'll get to the NFC East in a bit, but yeah. Your Packers, Greg, clinch a playoff spot.
Yes.
11-3.
My never-ending quest for that shareholder Super Bowl ring continues. I won't get it this year, but you never know.
Maybe it's your fault.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that.
And I think we even said it. I just said it when we were going through the plus minus. But yeah, it's there's a lot of weird in the NFL this year. Like there's all these good teams that it's like, oh, are they? There's I think the Packers are. That are like, oh, maybe.
I think the Packers are your classic good bad team. I really do. I think they're okay.
I don't think you'd be good bad at 11-3.
Well, maybe they're almost bad. I don't know what they are. I think they're not sneaky good. I don't know how you describe them. What do they fall into? Because they're a team that they're 11-3. It's not really a soft 11-3. They've played some good teams, but you look at them and you go, how are they 11-3? I don't know how do you classify that, but they're not as good as their record. I'll put it that way.
I know what you mean. Chiefs blow out the Broncos, not blow out the Broncos, but handle the Broncos
in the snow.
Yeah, that's always fun. I love football weather.
You would love so much if you had to live through it.
True. The Giants win the Tank Bowl, so the Dolphins are still on schedule, but they're still not going to catch the Bengals.
Oh, the Giants win that game?
Yeah, 36-20.
So is Eli back at even 500 now for his career?
I believe he is.
Well, he should quit right now.
I can't believe he had to come back in.
He's got 2 more games. He can win one, but he's got to lose the other one.
Yeah. Well, they're talking like he's going to come back next year, and I'm thinking, why? Why would you do that to yourself?
No.
Continue to mentor Danny Dimes.
No, he's going to go to a different team.
Oh. Jacksonville, Tom Coughlin.
Oh.
That would look so like Eli Manning in a Jaguars uniform would look so weird.
Because Nick Foles is bad, and as much as we love Beowulf Minshew the 7th,
he won yesterday. Come from behind victory
against the Raiders.
Yeah. The final game in the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum.
For now.
Yes. I mean, I got to think that if the Raiders ever did come back to Oakland, it could never be there again.
No.
And the A's aren't long for that concrete donut as it is.
No.
So,
No, and I think the Raiders with this new stadium in Vegas and all that, I don't see them going anywhere for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're moving to the Coliseum like they did in Los Angeles, and they're going to have their own place. It's going to be a super, really nice one, and it's just, I can't blame Oakland for not building a stadium because I think they've got money or problems that need that money worse. So here we are.
Yeah. We talked about the Bills circling the wagons like nobody else.
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
I 10 wins for this Bills team, man. I just can't believe that.
And they could still add to that,
they probably will because they either can shock the world to beat the Patriots or they play the Jets in Week 17. So,
but I mean, as you said, playing the Patriots for the division lead next week. Jesus.
Could it be a changing of the guard?
I mean,
if you had told me the Bills would be playing for the division lead in Week 16,
I would have said, you mean Week 6, right?
That's incredible.
It's amazing. And they're not very good either, which is the funniest part about it. I love them. I do.
Exactly.
But they're
If you want to talk about good bad team, this is that.
Yeah.
Like,
they've got a good defense. Their defense is really good. But boy, you got to be able to do more than 17 points a game to beat anybody but Pittsburgh. Come on. I'm sorry, but they've done it 10 times this year. What's the highest point total they've had this year? I bet it's not above 31.
That's a good question.
I bet you it's not.
Let's see, 17, 28, 21, 10, 14, 31 against the Dolphins. 13.
Oh, you can't count that. That's the Dolphins. That doesn't.
24,
Right.
16, 37 against the Dolphins.
You got to throw those. That's like the East German judge. You got to throw those two out. Sorry.
20, 26, 17.
Okay, so against
the highest,
except for the Dolphins, 2 Dolphins games, which don't really count, they've never broken 30.
yeah, the highest was at the Giants in week 2, 28 points, and at the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, 26 points.
Yeah. And that seemed like they were scoring a lot. That the Cowboys was like, they're scoring at will down there. Look at them go. 26 points, my God.
Yeah.
It's like Jim Kelly and the K-Gun all over again. It was, it really did. It seemed like, wow, look at their offense. It's exploding. It's like, it was
Right?
26 points.
Yeah, they were playing extremely well that game. It's like 26 points. That's all you get. But hey, congrats to them.
Yeah, I'm hey, you know what? I threw my irrational confidence behind them back in like week 3, and it's paying off. So,
the Eagles handled the Redskins 37-27. So the Eagles and Cowboys both kill the dream of a 7-10 division winner.
yeah, bastards.
Or 7-9 division winner, I should say. Not going to happen this year because they play each other this week. So no matter what, the division winner will end up with at least 8 wins.
What if they tie?
God.
Oh, well, what's worse, 7-9 or 7-8-1?
Well, we've had both. The Panthers won it at 7-8-1 one year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I think 7-8-1 sounds worse to me. Go ahead, Mike.
I was holding out hope for that 6-10.
We'll get it one of these years. I know we will.
I mean, statistically, I forget. I think it was the Ringer did a list of like the worst divisions in football history, and even though the season hadn't been done yet, they already put this one at like the third or fourth worst of all time.
Oh, it's
like
got to be up there for the NFC South from a few years back. The one like the Buccaneers were 2-9 and still in the hunt.
Well, I'm just going to bring the original Cleveland Browns in 1985 won the division at 8-8. AFC Central, when it was still called that, 8-8.
Let me. Here we go. Yeah, this is they ranked the NFL's worst divisions since the 2002 realignment. I'll just go through the top 10 real quick and see if anything jumps out at you. The 2004 NFC West is number 10. That was when the Seahawks went at 9-7, Rams 8-8. I think that was the year when the Rams. No, that was a different one. When they got bumped up to the Sunday Nighter. The 2013 NFC North when the Packers had that tie at 8-7-1.
Oh yeah.
The 2019 NFC East was number 8 at the time, so I was wrong there. They put the 2007 AFC East at number 7. That's when the Patriots were 16-0, but them being 16-0 didn't offset the Bills at 7-9, Jets at 4-12, and Dolphins at 1-15. 2008 AFC West. That's when Greg, your Chargers won at 8-8.
Mike's Chargers. Don't hang that team on me. I've got enough problems.
The 2016 AFC South, 9-7 Texans and Titans tied for the title there. 2011 AFC West, that was the Tim Tebow Broncos championship.
Oh.
Where the Broncos, Chargers, and Raiders all finished 8-8, but I believe the Raiders were 0-6 in the division.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, not great. And the Chiefs were 7-9. That's an incredible division. 8-8, 8-8, 8-8, 7-9.
Yeah.
Yes. Tim Tebow threw 69 yards to beat the Chiefs that year.
God.
Remember that game against the Steelers in the playoffs where he just all of a sudden he took this perfect pass? It was probably the best pass he's ever thrown in his life.
Here's some other stats about the 2011 Broncos. The Broncos were second to last in passing yards, had a negative 81-point differential, and lost their final 3 regular season games by a combined 48 points, but won the division at 8-8.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's pretty rough. Then we have the 2014 NFC South, which was the 7-8-1 Panthers, beating out the 7-9 Saints, 6-10 Falcons, and 2-14 Bucks. Yeesh. 2008 NFC West, the Cardinals were 9-7, 49ers 7-9, Seahawks 4-12, Rams 2-14. That was when the Cardinals actually went to the Super Bowl, funny enough.
Well, they were 9-7 that year, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too bad. But they ranked the number 1 worst division of all time. Yes, it is the only truly sub 500 team to win a playoff game. The 2010 NFC West, where Rams Seahawks in Week 17 got flexed into the Sunday night game when they were both when the Rams were 7-8 and the Seahawks were 6-9. Flexed into Sunday night.
That was the Marshawn Lynch Seahawks game, right, against the Saints?
Yeah.
No, yeah, right, yeah, in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's funny. And of course, I forgot to mention about that 2011 AFC West. Isn't that when the Matt Castle
Patriots did not make the playoffs? Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
11-5 and stayed home. See,
that was the year the Chargers won. I remember that. That was the 2008 AFC West.
Yeah, I've seen it happen twice in my life where an 11-5 team stayed home. It was the Patriots that year, and then the Broncos one year in the 80s or 90s. I don't remember. Won 11-5 and didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I was figuring the Rams were going to join that list, but we don't have to worry about that now. Anyway, back to the games. We touched on your Browns, but you don't want to talk about your Browns, Greg.
I don't know what do you want to say. They got their asses beat. Deservedly so. They're a disaster. They're the worst 6-8 team you're ever going to see.
Yeah. No, the Cardinals have acquitted themselves decently.
Yeah, they've lost 5 in a row. And their defense was ranked 31st and like yards allowed and 32nd and scoring allowed. And there you
go. Not bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. We touched on the Jags, Raiders, Rams, Cowboys.
I think we pretty much covered them.
Vikings, Chargers. Yeah, that's it. And then right now we've got Saints Colts going on, and this is just not a great Monday night game so far.
No,
pretty boring.
And the Saints, of course,
it's the Saints are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the
for fuck's sake,
the stupid onside kick game.
And they wore their good uniforms in that game at least. Which
now I would have figured that they would want the teams to wear the exact same uniforms they wore in that game, but no, all black is the way to go. Apparently,
yeah. Oh, their stupid black pants. Yeah.
At least the Colts look good, as always.
Colts always look good, yeah. Great
Such
helmets.
A perfect football uniform.
Yep, great everything about that uniform. Even the gray face mask. I know a lot of people prefer the blue, but I like the gray.
I like the gray, too.
Blue's not bad. Blue's good, too, but it's not bad. They used to be white years ago, and that didn't work so well, but yeah. They're just a great-looking uniform. See how simple they can make it and look good.
Let's see. So next week we've got Bills-Patriots. We've got 3 games on Saturday. Texans, Buccaneers, Bills, Patriots, and Rams, 49ers.
Those are all pretty big games.
I mean, the Rams, yeah. In theory, the Rams are still alive. Like, they can win the final 2 games and hope for, Kirk Cousins to trip or something. What else is big? Ravens, Browns.
Yeah.
You ready for that?
Oh, I'd be out Christmas shopping again. Don't even doubt that for a second.
I guess the only game. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Cowboys Eagles is
right
in name, and then Packers Vikings is Monday night this week. That's fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, good.
Glad we're doing the show on Thursday next week. That works out well for me.
Yeah.
So.
But that's that in terms of the NFL.
Not a whole lot less to talk about, really.
Well, do we want to do because if we're going to do all week next week on Star Wars, do we want to do the Capital One Bowl Fortnite?
Nah.
Look ahead?
Nah, just the one team, just the New Mexico Bowl really quick because ESPN had to drop the sponsorship because the company wasn't real. So,
wait, what?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
The Dream House New Mexico Bowl.
Dream Style.
Or Dream Style, whatever it was called. New Mexico Bowl. Well, guess what? Dream Style doesn't exist. It's some guy. It'd be like if I said, I want to sponsor the New Mexico Bowl, and they said, okay, we're going to make it the Greg New Mexico Bowl. And then I go, I don't have a company. But yeah, it doesn't exist. So they had to kill the sponsorship deal. ESPN did.
Oh, no, you're right. Dream House.
Dream House, yeah. Yep.
Oh, they dropped it back in October. How did I not see that?
I just saw it on Awful Announcing today. Huh.
Yeah.
That's weird.
The SI story from October.
Wow. I just saw it on Awful Announcing like literally 2 hours before we started recording tonight. Okay, well, it's not as funny now, but it's still pretty funny.
That's still pretty.
No, I don't know that anybody wants to sit and listen to us go through 41 bowl games. So,
well, hold on. Let me just see if we have any fun names. We don't have to go over the games. Let's just
all right.
See if we have any fun new names. I mean, some of these we've talked about before. We mentioned this one last week: the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. Utah State versus Kent State. That's one of the kickoff games there on Friday. Friday kicks off Bowl Fortnite. Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. That's good. Let's see. We got the Celebration Bowl, right? The New Mexico Bowl, no sponsorship.
Not anymore.
The FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl. That's a new sponsor, I believe.
Oh, geez.
That's down there in Orlando. You got Liberty versus Georgia Southern. What a game.
God, really?
The Camellia Bowl doesn't have a sponsorship. It used to be I could never say it because it was like the Raycom Media Camellia Bowl. It was like a lot of the same.
Oh, yeah, we talked about Raycom Media last year because you guys had never heard of them. Excuse me.
Yep. No,
yeah.
It's just the Camellia Bowl. Let's see. Mitsubishi Motors is now the Las Vegas Bowl sponsor. Arnell Carriers has done the New Orleans Bowl forever. This game's returning, Mike, in Tampa on Monday, December 23rd. The Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
Yeah, that's when they play at Tropicana Field, right?
No, this one they play at Raymond James now.
Oh, well, moving on up.
I believe there's still the St. Petersburg Bowl, but I'll check when we get to that point.
Mike, unfortunately, I'm not going to be there in time. I'd say we could go to that if you wanted to.
The Mowers Bowl.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
That's right. There you go.
Oh, man.
Who's playing in that?
That is UCF and Marshall.
Oh, God. We could go to that and probably sit on the bench if we wanted to.
Oh, God.
SoFi is sponsoring the Hawaii Bowl, the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl, Quick Lane Bowl. We've talked about that plenty of times. Academy Sports and Outdoors is sponsoring the Texas Bowl.
Okay.
The Cheez-It Bowl returns at Chase Field, Phoenix.
But I think Cheez-It, if Tostitos wasn't going to do the Fiesta Bowl, Cheez-It should have stepped in and done it. Just because. It's just, I don't know. The Fiesta Bowl needs to be named after food, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Always. Man, some of these are pretty normal. PlayStation, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, the Red Box Bowl. That's right. What used to be the God, what was that bowl called? The Foster Farms Bowl up at anyway, it's at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara. The Red Box Bowl. I don't think
there
Red Box
are
is
a multitude of jokes to be made about that name, but I'm just going to let everybody else think of them instead. I'll just point out
California versus Illinois in that one. I don't know how Cal made it to a bowl game.
I'm wondering how Illinois did it.
Lovie Smith's doing a pretty good job down there. They've actually done a decent job with that.
Okay.
And then I mentioned this last week as well, but Arizona State getting a bid to the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl against Florida State. That's good.
I like Tony the Tiger. That's the Frosted Flakes Tony the Tiger, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't call it just the Frosted Flakes Bowl.
Yeah.
Because that's a little too easy. But Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. That's really, really a solid one.
Better than the old sponsor. It used to be that, what was it, Brood Aftershave?
Yeah.
Sun Bowl, and that was just nasty. I'm sorry, but just okay.
Yeah. Again, a lot
Why
of
not just call it? Why not just go all the way and call it the broke ass Walmart Bowl for fuck's sake?
The Citrus Bowl is now sponsored by Vrbo, VRBO. That it's like the poor man's Airbnb.
Yep.
Outback Bowl, Allstate Sugar Bowl, the Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl.
That's okay. Is that where my Rockets are going this year? Because usually they go to Birmingham or Detroit.
I don't know. I haven't been looking for the teams. Where are the Toledo Rockets playing?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't make a bowl this year.
It's possible. Toledo Rockets football.
I'm just thinking if Liberty and Georgia Southern made it, then, you know.
Man, I'm not seeing anything. They were 6-6.
Oh, maybe not. Bowl schedule. There we go.
I don't see them. They don't have it on their football schedule. So maybe they didn't get a bid.
They did not.
I don't know.
Well, how about that? Okay, well, all right. One less thing I have to do this season.
The Outback Bowl we've talked about.
That's usually a pretty good game.
Yeah, the Outback Bowl, we've got Minnesota Auburn. I mean, I don't know how they can play the Outback Bowl on the same hallowed ground that they play the Gasparilla Bad Boy Mowers Bowl.
Well, it's certainly a controversy, but what are you going to do? We can only...
Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, Lockheed Martin. Oh, here's the last one. Again, I love when they play these games like after the national championship. In Mobile, Alabama, we have the Lending Tree Bowl, where Louisiana gets to play the Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, that's for the MAC champions, I believe. Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, probably.
Yep. They get to go to Birmingham. Woohoo! Better than Detroit.
Mobile. That one's Mobile.
Oh, Mobile. Oh, even better then. Come on. I think Mobile might be closer to the water. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Redneck Riviera.
Exactly. Is that it for the bowl games?
That's it. Yeah, kind of a tame slate of bowl names.
Yeah, well, bowl fortnights, I think, starting a little bit late this year, the 20th. Usually it's around the 15th or 16th.
It feels like, and this is usually a good thing, but it feels like there's less bowls than before.
Well, I think it's down from 44 last year to 41 this year, so we've lost 3. But I don't know. Anyway, all right, folks, on that note, we're going to wrap it up. We will see you back here next week for the 3rd, I believe it will be, basically a sports show, Star Wars Holiday Special. We're all going to go see the Rise of Skywalker next week, and then we'll be back to
Skywalker.
Talk about it. Hopefully it'll be good and not a piece of shit that The Last Jedi was. So follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
I'm rewatching that tomorrow, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Subscribe via Apple Podcasts, iTunes, damn it. Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spreaker, yeah, that stuff too. And with that, we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, and happy holidays to everyone.
Yeah. And a quick baseball note. Congratulations, Angels. You signed a big name free agent. Sign a pitcher, maybe. Then we can talk.
Yeah, Rendon's not a bad signing, though. All right, folks, we'll see you next week.
Later.
Later.